Hi guys, uh, it's a beautiful day. Happy new month. I am so happy to be back. I believe everyone has missed me. If you've missed me, I kindly just say hi or something. Just drop a message on the comment section. Yeah. So for the past 2 weeks, we've been having text-based class, and the reason why we're having text-based class is so that we harness different means of learning and to help you, who is also learning, because you're not always going to learn from video resources, right? As a developer, you have to know how to use documentations, you have to learn how to use documentations, and most documentations are written text-based, so you have to know how to harness text-based content and be able to learn from text-based content. And that was the reason why I had to do a 2 weeks, most of the 2 weeks course on text based, right? And well, I was supposed to move into a new section today, which is on going into front end, but I decided to do a full recap on the Git and GitHub classes. And on Saturday, I'm going to give you a task which I would want you to submit. So uh, before the next week. So the goal of this week is going to be a complete recap of the Git and GitHub section, right? So for those who doesn't have clear understanding of GitHub or we're not able to follow up on the text-based class or you need more explanation. So I'll be using this. So before I begin today's class, please there's some clarity I need to do. And also let me just show you. We successfully completed the first module of this boot camp, and we are 1 month old already, which is a good thing. I think I should do a clap or something for that because, I mean, we've had 1 month of complete success. Uh, Honestly, from my side, I will lie, it's been strenuous, but uh, it's the essence of the major essence of this is to make sure that we give impact, and that is the major goal for me, that I deliver impact. I know you're learning and I know you're growing, so that is what is important for me, the fact that you're growing, and that is what I'm looking at doing. So like I said, if you have any question, please don't fail to always ask on the forum. And also, I realized that many people were complaining about not being able to conversate on the forum really well. So I had to create a Telegram group chat and have someone who will be moderating the group chat for you. And that is Vector. So Vector will be managing the group chat and also dropping some of the text-based content. So if you have any questions, please kindly relate to Vector. And also, please always check your emails any for any updates. Yeah. So now I just need to clarify some things on how to use the forum because it's really saddens me that most of you don't know how to use the forum till date, and it's causing issues, yeah, because it's difficult for me to follow up when I see different topics created different in different places, it's difficult for me. All right, so I'll just give you a rundown of what the forum is, of how to use the forum again, and please kindly pay attention, please. It's really important that you pay attention. So now I'll share my screen now. So yes. So this is the forum, yeah. This whole set is the forum. So when you enter the forum, the first thing is when you come in here, you enter the forum. All right, click on full stack developments. Then to see any announcement that is to be posted, right, is on this block. Then, if you have any random questions, any kind of questions that is not concerning a particular topic, you ask them on this blog, right? Don't ask questions on the announcement forum because now it becomes trouble. It becomes an issue for me because if someone comes into the announcement forum now and you're not seeing only my content there, you're seeing different content. It becomes hard for someone who wants to look for announcement. Like for example, coming to the announcement forum now, I'm seeing this is one from me, this one is from me, then this is not from me, this is not from me, and it's already causing issues here. This is not from me, this is not from me. You know, so announcements should be on announcement. It's only I'm the only one who should be able to post on announcement. I didn't, I built this platform on a rush, so I didn't create most of all those restrictions. So please don't post on the announcement forum. Only comments. Don't create a topic on an announcement. Only comment. Like for example, I created this topic. I'm allowed to create this topic. Then now, if you want to say something as regards this, you comment under it. You don't post under it. Then you can also upvote. Sorry, let me log in. Then you can also upvote. Yeah, you can upvote. Like if I talked about something and you wanted to like, okay, yeah, this is really important, and you're like you like what I announced, you can upvote it so that people can be the first, as in it can always come up, you know, as one of the first announcements. Then if you have a random question that is not concerning any topic, you ask it here on the top on the category called random questions, yeah. Then if you have, like right now we are on Git and GitHub here. If you have questions concerning Git and GitHub, ask your questions here. Do you understand? And again, I for the assignments here, I created a subcategory in Git and GitHub. As you can see, there's a subcategory called assignment one, assignment two. Your assignment should be under assignment one, exactly the way it is here, right? So this is how it should be, not it being everywhere. When it's everywhere, it becomes hard for me to look into. You understand? And like for example, I can easily just come here and see all the assignment posted, then go and just copy the link and paste it to just be sure I saw what he did. Are you seeing it? Which is good. You know, that is basically what I want you to do. Don't just post randomly on the listing. If you want to be specific, you can come to this place, you see Git and GitHub, and you can post. Because now it makes it difficult for me. I can't start answering all these things here, all these unanswered talks here, because I don't know where it was posted, and it becomes an issue for me because I don't know if it's going to be helpful to others. And other people can track it. When someone comes here, comes to the platform, the person will be easy, it's easier for the person to track whatever activity that is going on. You understand? So, like for example, if I come to the platform for the first time, I don't know how to use the platform. If I come here, I know okay, this is going to be our announcement block, and I want to get information. You get an announcement block from here. Then okay, I'm having issues with the Git and GitHub classes. I can come here and look for things regarding that place. So if you have a question under Git and GitHub, you can create a topic under Git and GitHub for your questions, right? Then we'll move into front end. If you have any questions on front end development, that is HTML and CSS, I'm going to create a subcategory called HTML and CSS, right? Under front end, a subcategory called HTML and CSS. So you post your topic, you create your topic under the category HTML and CSS. You understand? Or the category HTML. So anybody has a question on HTML, can post their content under the category HTML. So by next week, we're going to have a category called HTML. So please and please, please and please do not, or if we do not post um, carelessly on the platform. Please do not post carelessly on the platform. I would really appreciate if you don't post carelessly on the platform. So that's that about the forum. So, in case you have any questions, then again for peer-to-peer learning, right? If you want to learn with your peers and everything, that's why the Telegram group was created for quick chats. Please don't spam the group. Please don't spam the group. Only talk about things that are related to building yourself, right? As you can see, we're already posting some contents that can help you go learn further, learn faster, and I'm going to be talking about this on the next class and drop some contents that you can look into to learn better, right? So try to harness whatever thing you get there. So let's move on. Like I said, we have successfully completed the first module, right, of the course. I think it's going to be really fine for you. Yeah, we have successfully completed the first module of the course, right? And let me do this quickly. Sorry, this is not mine. Sorry about that. We'll start developing a roadmap. Yeah. So yeah, so we're in Git and we've done Git branching, GitHub, beginners, and advanced Git. So we've covered all this, but for this week, I'm going to be doing a recap on everything we've treated here. right? A video recap, so it's easier for anyone. Then I'm going to also show you how your assignment is going to be like. So brace up. That's also what we're going to be doing throughout today. Then while I was doing some consulting and everything, I realized that we might have to change the back-end development language, right, from Java and Python. But that was what I was thinking of doing because based on recent developments, Python is having a faster, it's like language for the future, and it's beginners friendly, yeah. So rather than having to scare people along the line, I think we can do a language that is globally recognized and still beginners friendly and has inputs in different fields, right? Like Python has it in different fields, be it data science, be it robotics, and the rest. So, but I don't want to be the one to decide. I want you to decide. So I created a poll on the blog. So you can go to the blog and on the blog, when you visit the blog, scroll down, you see a poll here. What language would you like to learn for the backend development? Yeah, choose either Python or Java. So before you choose, you can do your research. But from my own end, I'm thinking of changing to Python. But if you feel you still want to learn Java, then there's no problem. But this is what you can choose here. So I'll drop the link to the blog again. When you visit the blog, you'd see it's there. So you can do your voting there. So vote what you would like to learn, right? If you want to learn for your backend development, we said programming here Java, but you can choose what you want to learn that. So if you say Python, then I'm going to uh, change this whole roadmap, and I'll change the roadmap, and yeah, I think that's what I'll do. So let me know what you want to learn, but for me personally, I feel we should change to Python because of its usability and its future advantages, right? So with that said, I think we will move on, and the next stage is, yeah, just me. So with that said, let me quickly move on to the next stage. So I'm just going to go to the blog and look at what we have covered. So the last time I had a class with you was when we treated different introduction to command line, and this was like an edit that I did, right? So sorry, I'm coming. So yeah, so I think what we'll be doing now is I'll be teaching you. I've done this. I've explained this before, uh, so I don't need to explain this. So I think I just have to start explaining things on. Have I done Git basic operations? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so we'll take over Git basic operations again, and that will do today Git basic operations and Git practical assignments. Yeah. So those who haven't done the assignment, please endeavor to do your assignments. It's really important that you do your assignments. Yeah. I see your post. I see everything. Uh, oh, why this person has to post like the same time? Same person 11 times. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. So now let's begin today's class. Um, I'll just quickly close this, and this. Okay. So let me see. Kindly. So for those who say I'm not reply yet, for those who are saying I see your comments, just vote please, vote on the blog so we know what we're doing, yeah. So vote on the blog. So I'm seeing your results here, so I know okay, you only have total of one vote since then. So imagine. So I think if you vote, then it's easy to know what we're doing, yeah. So now let's move on. Um, I know I've explained what Git is before. I've explained Git concepts, why we need to be using Git, the importance of Git as a developer and all. So now on this class, I'll just basically show you how some important concept of Git, right? So now, uh, this is my account. So this is my Git account here. For those, uh, so sorry, that's that's wrong. Yeah. So actually, if you see this, this is my profile, right? You see what I did here, right? This is like an introduction of who I am and what I do, right? And yeah, this is GitHub. Basically, as a developer, GitHub is like your CV, right? Your resume. It displays all your works, all your current works, what you've done, what you've been, the projects you've worked on before. The organizations you are currently working with. That's what GitHub shows. All right, as you can see, this is my profile, and this is a very nice picture of Hiromi Kenshi. If you know Hiromi Kenshi for the anime lovers, and this is a README. So a README displays a it's like a text-based description of your repository or whatever folder you have, right? And GitHub produce a new feature where you can put a README to be able to explain your profile, but it's going to be in form of a repository. Yeah, it's going to be a special repository. Yeah, so I did all this edit, and you can see my activities over time, right? You can see all my activities over time in 2022 and blah blah blah. So this is how my activities October. You see all the activities that you've done on Git over time. So yeah, I recently cleaned my repositories. That's why I have a 10 repository. From my lifestyle was 36 repositories and projects I've worked on, but I cleared them off of recent. I have to move on my overall tax because I don't want to be identified as a mobile developer again, and I had to clear all those things. But yeah, this is how GitHub is. So for today's class, I'm going to do some basic operations like from what this class says. That says, no, what's it? I believe by now you've already downloaded Git and you already have a GitHub account. So I'm just going to do the Git basics and fundamentals where I'm going to clone a project and I'll enter that project. Then I'm going to make edits to that project. So I'll follow through this tutorial, right? And I'll push to my GitHub repository, if that is okay. So now let's go. So first you have to create a GitHub repository. Then now we have to clone the GitHub repository, right? After you've cloned the GitHub repository, then you have to enter into the create a file, right? So you create a file, then that's with your command line. Then you add that file, commit, then you push. So it's as simple as that. So let's do these simple steps today. And for now, then I'll see if we're going to move on. But rather than rather than creating a file, I think I'll just make an edit to a README file, right? And tell you the purpose of README files. Then I'm going to push the README edit. So let's get started, yeah? So I'll create a new repository. So to create a repository is when you log into your GitHub account. Yeah, let's say this is GitHub and you've logged into your GitHub account, right? You come here. Sorry, I want to see comment section. Yeah. So you come here and you come to your repositories, and in your repositories, to create a GitHub repository, click on new. So when you click on new, then you can give this a repository name. So I'll call git recap. So This is a description you can put in the repository. It does not concern your README. It's just a description that you want to use to know your repository. Yeah. Then if you want it to be a public or private repository, so if it's a private repository, you can choose who you want to see it, but if it's a public repository, it's open to the internet. Remember when I told you that in some cases, right, some public repositories, some people build tools and some people build softwares and they have them as a public repository, and people who want them can go there and go and get the code base. Like for example, um, when I was in my final year, no, when I was still in school, when I was in the university, right, they were giving a task to build something. I didn't know how I was going to go about it as at then, but I understand programming, I understand how to write some languages, yeah. I understand how to write PHP then, but I didn't know how I was going to begin the project. So at that point, since I didn't know what to build the project, I can't start building the project from scratch because I that was going to be the first time I was going to be working on a project on my own. I was looking for a script and I was went to GitHub to search for inventory management system, and I searched for inventory management system and I saw different projects on that. And I had to look for the one that fits into my skill set, which was on PHP. I went into there and I looked for it. So I think I should use this opportunity to explain what README does for you. So you understand the importance of README. So let's see. I'm a newbie now. Let's assume I am a newbie and um I have a certain an intermediate experience in development. Let's say writing PHP, and I've been given a task to build an inventory management system, and I don't know where to begin from. Yeah, and I just need someone. I need to see a code base that I can work with, or I something that can inspire me, right? Or probably I want to improve my skill set, my PHP skill set, and I want to work on an open source project. Right? If I come here and I look for a specific project, let's say an inventory management system. So if I come here and I search for inventory management system. So you see GitHub tells you search in all GitHub, yeah? So I searched in all GitHub and now I can streamline based on the languages. Yeah, I can streamline to say, okay, uh just look for something in, so you're seeing this, so you see this, right? So I can streamline to say, okay, look for something that has to do with only PHP, right? Then I come here. Then now I'm going to show you something. Now you see this. This is stars. This is the language MIT license. MIT license literally means that it's good to have this on your project. Right. I remember of recent I was working. I'm currently working on a project, and there was a tool I needed in GitHub, right? And the tool was the solution to was going to be a solution to my problem, but I could not use that tool. Why? Because the tool was not MIT licensed, in the sense that the developer of that program on GitHub, who hosted on GitHub, it was a public repository, right? But I still couldn't use the public repository because there was no MIT license. Means that uh, if later in the future this developer comes and says, I don't have the usable license to use that tool, right? Means he can sue me later in the future. So you have to be very sure that okay, the project what you're supposed to consume is MIT license. Means you can consume for commercial purposes, right? So it means I can clone and uh work on this one for commercial purposes, yeah. And and that thing, so you as a developer who is putting your work publicly out there on GitHub, you should have this license there so people don't run away from your project, right? So you see, and star projects, right? So you see this getting built this thing, and because of the number of stars he has, it makes your project visible, right? So if you're going to, it's very good, because you're not paying these developers any money, you're not paying them anything, but when you consume their work or when you use their work, right, please start their project. It's really good that you start their projects. It's a mode of appreciation. Same way, I'm teaching you for free. You're not paying me anything, but all I want from you is to always like and share my video. Like, share, and you can always drop your comments. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Right. So people can learn what you're learning, and also I get to have more visibility, right, to be able to reach more people. So this is the language he used, this is the stars he has, and this is the license to this project, right? So if I come to this project, and the first thing you should see is the README of the project. Now you see this README. So now this is where it helps you. Why this is the importance of README. If your project doesn't have if your repository or your project does not have a README, it's going to be difficult for an outsider to understand what you did, right? Imagine seeing bulk of files here. It takes someone who is really experienced, right, to be able to look at this one time and be able to understand what is happening all here, right? It's going to someone who is experienced that can be able to understand what's happening all here. But with a perfectly written README, right? I can look at this, I can look at how it's structured, and I can read through what it says. It's basically the name says it all. Read me, It's like, hey, before you do anything, look at me first. So when you look at the README and you say it says this application was initially created by Simon Azan using PHP, MySQL, and Bootstrap. We already told you what to use in building it, so you already know. Okay, if this meets your skill set, I can work on this project. Yeah. Then it tells you Oswald.inv, that's the name of the project, is a web-based inventory system that will allow you to keep track of quantity, buying and selling, blah blah blah. Then installing. Then now he tells you how to install this project. Right? He tells you to install this project. You have to git clone first, then import blah blah blah. This should set up the basic structure. Then it tells you what you have to import, tells you what you have to modify, tells you further permissions you have to give. Then it gives you the login list. So these are with this README has given me now, I should be able to set up this project on my own system. Right. I'm not going to go into it into setting up this project, but I think in the next class, I'm going to show you how to work on open source projects. Then now if you're going to work on open source project, things that there are very things that are important to you. First is issues, right? Issues and pull requests. Those are the two things that are important to you, right? Issues and pull requests. So, for example, if you come here and you see people are actually talking about the problem they're facing with the program. I tell you, okay, hello developers, can you add the version number? Can't start session after login, load barcode, serif change admin password, blah blah. These are all the issues that they're facing on this platform here. So if you come here and if you want to fix them, so you can pick one issue and say, okay, you want to fix so issue, then you can clone, fork the repo first, clone it, do what you want to do, then come here and pull request. I'll teach you all that. I already written there's an article on the blog that talks about merge Git branching, fork forking a repo, Git branching, as well as pull requests. But for this week, I'm still going to touch all that. So now you see this is the personal repository and it's out on the listing. If you notice here, you see it has over 239 forks. So it means that people are forking this repository and they are working on it and they're making a pull request for the admin to add it. Right? That's to make and people are already are also watching this. Watching this means you're looking if there are recent changes or things like that. So this is the importance. This is what having your repository on GitHub can help you do. So if I come as an employer and I look for this guy, you know, and I look for this guy on GitHub, I can see all his works. I can see the number of followers that he has, his steady activities, the repositories he has. I'm seeing his repositories, I'm seeing everything, all the works he has been doing since. It's funny, yeah, if you look at his profile. On his profile, it's only this warehouse inventory system that has more clicks and more likes and everything. This should be your social media as a developer.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Hear me? Huh? Okay. Sorry about that. There was I don't know where it came from. It's I think it's on my streaming platform. The platform I'm using to stream through via Google. So I don't know. Please, if anyone can tell me at what point did you stop hearing me, just text to me at what point did you stop hearing me, so I know because I actually said a lot, but I don't know where I stopped talking. So so just tell me at what point you stopped hearing, so I can continue from there. Well, uh, someone's still saying they can't hear me. How come? Oh, oh, oh. So, like I said, GitHub is like a social media account, and you have to treat it like one. For every project you're working on, always show consistency, right? Always show that you're working on something. Always show the consistency of what you're working on. It's really important for you, right? So, like I said, today's class, I'm just going to go through what's the importance of README, cloning an account, cloning a repository, that is your repository, creating a repository on your GitHub account, cloning that repository, making edits or creating a new file, then pushing it. I'll just explain most of these concepts around the work, and it will be good for you to so you have deeper understanding for those who don't have understanding, and from but mind you, what I'm teaching you now is already it's already as an article on the website. So this is the article here. I'll paste the link here for everyone to see. Here. So there's already an article on the website, so on my blog. So there's an article, so you can always go there to look to look at it. So now let's begin. So I'm going to go back to the teaching thing here. So now I'm going to create a new repository. So to create a new repository, let's say you open GitHub for the first time and you've logged in. So I already explained what repositories are to you. If you don't understand what repositories are, please go to the please go to the article to understand, to read what repositories are. Then if you don't know what GitHub is and how to use GitHub, you can watch this video, right? It's really important. It's a really explanatory video on what, and it's the animations are really fun. So you can watch it to get a deeper understanding of what GitHub is and how GitHub and what's the major goal of GitHub, yeah? So now let's create a repository. So if this is my GitHub account, I'm coming to GitHub for the first time, this is the first thing I'm going to see. So now I have to look for where to create a repository. So if I come here, if you come to this plus sign, right? Okay, let me just do a rundown. Yeah, if you come here, you see your profile, all your repositories, code spaces and the rest and blah blah. Right. But if you want to create a repository, if you come here, new repository, when I click on new repository now, the first thing GitHub asks you is if you'd the name of the repository you want to create. So I'll call it Git recap. Yeah. So description is not really important, but it's just like if you want to put a description to your project work, you know. Uh, but for me, I don't put a description. So public and private. Public makes your work visible to all users on GitHub. Private is only visible to people you want to see them. Then adding a README is important. Yeah, like I said, I've told you the importance of having a README file. So on this project, we're going to add a README to explain our project. Then add a git ignore. Yes, you have to have a git ignore. So when you start working on frameworks, yeah, when you start working with frameworks and yeah, when you start working with frameworks, yeah, right, you have to have a git ignore. So git ignore is going to help you ignore some files and not push them to GitHub. I'm going to explain more about git ignore later in the future. So license, I explain what licenses are. So there are different type of licensing, right? I don't really know most what most of all of them does, but I know MIT license gives you a license to use the project for commercial purposes. So I'll use this, then I'll create my public repository. So now, this is created, right? So I have a file called license, which is my MIT license file, right? As you can see here, so it's you can read through it. You see it's permission is evaluated free of charge to any person obtaining a copy of this software and associated documents files to deal in software without restriction, right? Including without limitations to the rights to use, copy, modify. So this is the license. So in case of anybody that wants to use it can use it. So basically, all licenses helps you do. And all licenses is basically it's just for privacy policies, you know. So now this is README. So README explains what your app is and what your app does. So README, the good thing about README is it's not just text based. You can actually modify your README to look really nice and beautiful. For example, I'll show you like you saw the README file of the person that we just saw now. So you see how beautiful his README is, right? With the lines and big text, code text, the tables, you know. So they are like they are they are. It's like as though you're writing command line prompts, not prompts, yeah, but as though you're writing with how we write with WhatsApp when you use the to write a bold text, you do star B and blah blah, it makes the text bold, all those things, yeah. So that's how you write with README. So in writing your README file, you just have to know the commands that helps you do each project. Like for example, if you see this, uh, when you do one hash, it makes it bold, right? And when you do hash, it's like H2 or something like that, you know, testing. And if I save it, that's true. If I save it, I have to commit. But let me do just show you what I want to show you. And when you have dash is a bullet point. So they're like different commands you use in writing readmes and the rest, but you can check them out. I think when you have this guy here, sorry, this is for code, right? And when you have it like for links, this is if you're linking to somewhere different, let's say this is https google.com. So this is you're linking something to like when you so it's not going to show this link, it's going to show this one, right? And when you click on it, it takes you to this one. There are many other things, so it's just I'll just commit my changes and I'll call it readme writing. So it's in the README you give a description about your project and how to set up the project and everything. So anyone who's coming to see a project for the first time without having to contact you, the person can be able to set up that project on his own. So you have to be able to put good details, write it descriptively, and you can also write the architecture of your projects and all. So I was speaking with a mentor of mine. He was telling me that for every project I roll up on GitHub, that I should always make sure I document the project really well. And he was like, the importance of this is because when a company goes to see and want to check what you've done, and they see a project that interests them, if you don't document that project to show the level of expertise that you'll be able to do, the architectures, how you're able to achieve what you achieved there, you know, they can't tell at what level you know what you know. You understand? So you have to be able to document those things in your README. I'm trying to see if I can get a good let me see if I can get a good README file and let me see. So let me see if I can get a good README file. If possible, I can get one and I will show you. So you see the different types of README files that people do have and the importance of documenting your work. Okay. Yeah, exactly. I think this is good. So look at this README file, right? This is someone's project on clean architecture with RX Swift. So Swift is a program used in writing uh, what do you call it? Um, native iOS application. Yeah. So now this person he wrote something on clean architecture with Swift. How to what clean architecture really means when you're working with Swift. So now let's see. You see how he structured his README file, contributions are welcome and highly appreciated. Then it's like telling you what you need to do, CDO arrangements, with the pictures, with the code base, multi-line code. You know, this shows his full architecture, what he built, how he did it, what he was, the deeper explanation of what he was doing. So, I mean, you don't have to trouble yourself now with how you can do all this. During the course of learning, I'm going to do a sample README to explain some things. But you see, he built something and he's showing you the architectural process of everything that he built. You understand? So if an employer comes in and see his work, the employer already knows that okay, this person knows what he's doing. You don't just write the readme and just say this is blah blah blah, this is what he does and this thing. And now don't you have to give vivid explanation, of the with gifs and um ex- good explanation of what you're doing, right? So that's it. So you can see also this one. This one is showing a pipeline, right? For ASCII, you know. But yeah, so I think I've spent a lot of time explaining to you what the importance of Git of README in a project. But it can never be overemphasized. Please try to always, well, when you're writing, don't forget what the importance of README in the future. Yeah. Then another thing to take notice. So I probably am going to do a, drop a course on the Telegram. Sorry, a link on the Telegram chat on how to edit your README, right? All the commands needed to edit your README. I'm going to drop a link for that so you know how to edit your README. Or most probably, Thursday class, I'm going to teach you how to edit a README, right? Like the commands you need and everything to edit your README. But now, later in the future, later in the course, because we have to have covered a lot of things and I can start showing you those things because now it's not going to be really effective, right? So let's say I commit these changes. Now you see the things I did. Those codes that I wrote here, it has been presented. So this is like a bigger header. This is a smaller header. This is bullet points. This is to show a code. And this is to show a link, right? And if you look at them, this is what I wrote. I seen it. So that is the difference, when you so that's how bit you can there are like many things, when you want to represent an image or you want to like different kind of representation that you want to do, there are different ways you have to arrange them or manipulate them so it shows in a different way. So now I'll create a repository. I've created a repository called Git recap. Now I have to clone this repository. So to clone this repository, now uh now I'm thinking whether I should talk about branching. No, I'll talk about branching on Thursday, right? I'll talk about branching on Thursday, but now I'll just explain to you what we're just going to do the basic steps. So now I'm going to clone this repository. Why do I have to clone this repository? If I'm going to work on this project, I can't work on this project directly on GitHub, right? I have to clone first, then work on it, then I push so as to not have issues. So let's say it's, when you're working with a company and you have access rights to that company's organization, this is basically how you have to work with it. You have access rights to it, so you have to clone that repository, then you can start making your edits on your own local system. So now let's say I clone this repository now. I've copied it, I have to clone it now. So to clone, I have to do I'll open my terminal, I'll make sure I'm in the directory where I want my project to be in. So I always put my projects in uh, desktop, right? This is how I want it to be. So because my system is highly protected, I have to give access. So uh, let me move this so that you can see and See if I can increase this guy. Okay, so now I'll do git clone. So if you want to check if git is actually installed in your system, sorry. Uh, yeah. So if you want to know if you have Git installed in your system, you do Git version to be very sure that you have Git installed first before you can run this code. For Windows people, you can use your Git bash to run this command. So I'll just do Git clone and I'll paste the clone link here. Remember, I've taught you SSH key and how to link your system with your laptop with GitHub via SSH. So with that now, you don't have to be writing Git init anytime you want to work on a file. You understand? So when you have your Git link, your system linked with your GitHub account, you don't have to write Git init again on your system. You just have to just be working with Git. Normally I will have to writing Git init or something like that if I want to push a new folder or a new project. You understand? That's initialize Git on that folder. But now I don't have to do that. So I'll just move ahead and I clone. So you see, it asks me for my passphrase for security purposes, and it has cloned the project. So now if I go to my desktop, let's see what's my desktop. Desktop. See this guy here. So you see we have the folder here, right? So now the next step is I would want to go into that folder that I just created. Oh, sorry, I just cloned, which is git recap, right? And I can open VS Code here. VS Code command is not set up yet for with my terminal, but I can open VS Code normally, right? And I'll just go to file. Sorry. So I'll just go to file and open folder and download the desktop, git recap, and this guy. Yes, I trust. Yes, okay. Minus. Okay. Now I think that's so good. So you see, and I can open, I already have this folder open. So this is my README, and this is my license, right? Then now I've cloned this repository. Now I want to work on something new. So let's say I want to create a new file and call it melody.txt, and inside it I put, hello guys, my name is Melody. I am 24 years old. Yes, I am 24 years old. And I live in Switzerland. I am learning full stack development. Alright, so now I've made changes. So the good thing, if you notice with VS Code, right, it would always know when you've made changes to a file, and it reminds you that you have to track that file. You have to commit that file. So you see this place is called source control in VS Code. Right? If I come here, it tells you, hey, you've made changes to a new file, right? Which is this file. And now it tells you this file is currently untracked. Untracked means you've not added this file to be tracked on Git. Right? It means you your Git doesn't know or doesn't have this file, your new changes, right? So it means that file is untracked. I'm so tempted to go into Git branching now, but if I do that, it's going to confuse you. So, but I think I just explained this concept to you first, then we'll move it to Git branching on Thursday. So now this is what VS Code tells you. That's why your IDEs are really important. You have to be using a good IDE, right, in recent time. Because if you're not using a good IDE, it's going to be difficult for you to understand It's not going to be difficult for you, but it's going to make IDs make it easier for you to work with Git. So with this now, the next thing I have to just do is if I if this is the track, so the idea already knows that hey, Melody, you have made changes to this file that you cloned, right? And you're not tracking this file yet, right? You have to track this file. You have to make sure that Git is seeing this file and it's added to Git status. So, for example, to be sure that whether this file is tracked or not, if I create a new terminal here on my VS Code, I don't like writing when I'm writing my Git commands and on a project, I always write it on the terminal from my IDE, which is from VS Code, rather than going to the normal one. So here I'll just come here and next thing I'll just do, make sure I'm on Git recap. Make sure you're on Git recap means you're inside this folder, or that not Git recap. In your case, might not be Git recap. Make sure you're in your repository folder, the one that you cloned, right? And I can say Git status. So Git status tells me the same thing VS Code tells me. VS Code already does this thing for me, telling me that hey, this file that you changed is not being tracked right now. So it's the same thing that when you do Git status, it tells you, hey, bro, uh, when it's showing red like this, means you made changes to some files, yeah, and those files you're not tracking. Git's not tracking those files, right? So don't you think you'd like to track them? So for you to track those files now, you have to do git add, then the file name. Well, for me, if you don't want to track all files, you just want to track specific files, you can just put the file name. Yeah, but if you want to track all your files that you've edited, all the changes you've made, which is going to be in most cases, you can just put a full stop there, which is git add all. And now if you do git status, you notice that the red warning sign left, so now means it's now being tracked. So if I come here and I go back here, so you see it's now staged. Sorry, not tracked, it's now being staged. Stage means it's now ready. So if I do git status again, sorry. So if I do git status again, it should be on green. So it means that file is currently staged and is ready to be committed. So if I come here and I say git commit. So now, what is commit? What does git commit does? Git commit is like you're telling Git now, hey, this file that I have made changes to and I've added for you to stage it for me. Right now, I want to commit this file. I want to commit these changes. I want to make you see and track these changes. Right. So it is with your commits that Git knows which changes. It is like a signature for each of your changes, right? Because when you create a Git commit, it generates a unique ID for you, and it is that ID that you use in tracking each changes that is made. Because Git is a program, right? But how does it work? It's for you to be able to know changes that are happening across a particular project. It is through the commits that you can use to know those changes. So if I do Git, you have to put a message, all right? So for you as a human being to be able to track your changes. So I said I just added a file. All right, so that is the change, the commit changes I made now. So this now is for me as a human, for me to be able to understand the changes I'm making on my project. I have to use this commit message. But for Git to understand the changes you are making, Git attach an ID to it. Like for example, if I do this, now you see this ID is created. Now this one is for you as a human and anybody looking through your repository. This one is for Git and GitHub to be able to know and track what changes is happening. You understand? So you see, it tells you one file was changed and there was two line insertion, which is this guy and this guy, right? So if you if you do git status, now you see the file that is staged now it has moved from being staged to now being tracked. So if you do here now, you see that there's nothing here again. Now it's not telling you to sync changes. Sync changes means you can now make a push. So because I am on the main branch, right, and this main branch now is linked with the my remote main branch. Difficult to understand right now, but I'm going to explain in the next class. Right. So because this is tracking the main branch on the remote repository, right? If I do git push, it's just going to push directly to the main repository. But I have trust issues, right? I don't just write git push like that. I'm scared. What if I was not looking here and I just press git push and I just type git push and it went to have and it goes on to have issues, you know? It's going to be a problem for me later. So I just have to do git push and tell him, hey, go to the origin and go to this specific branch in the origin, please. Right? Don't go and push another place. Uh, go to the origin and push directly to this origin. And when I do this, it asks me some questions and says, hey, you have to input your number or something. That's my password. And I do this. Oh, I put the wrong password. That's weird. MEFO. So you see, it has pushed now. So if I go to my GitHub account now and correct, we have this and this here. So if I reload this page, I should see melody.txt there now, right? And if I open melody.txt, its content is this, right? So I've created a new GitHub repository. I have showed you what commits, how to use commit, what to committing, cloning, and pushing, right? Then if I want to pull, let's say there's a new change here now. Let me make a new change from this place. I think let me teach you git pull. So let's say I do something like this. Making changes to making changes so the readme from GitHub. My keyboard isn't misbehaving again. VS Code small, I'll call this small changes and save. So now if you notice this changes now is already on my GitHub, right? That's my remote repository. But on my local repository, which is here, I don't have anything like that, right? But there's a way, you can there's a code you can actually use to check if you are one commit ahead or one commit behind, um, and to check if you are up to date with your repository. But I think I'll show you that in the next class. Yeah, but because yeah. So uh, so yeah, if you notice here, I made changes there, but this my local repository, the one that I cloned, does not have these changes. Right? So what do I do? How do I incorporate these changes? And that's why they tell you if you're working on projects with more than one person, yeah, which is the case right now. Let's say someone is in I'm in Lagos right now, I'm in Switzerland right now, someone is in Lagos working on the same repository that I'm working on this repository, right? And the person just made changes to this place. And me now, I'm about to I've made changes, sorry, I've made changes here I've made changes here and I want to push. I'm going to have a merge conflict. Why? Because there's already a new change that is on the repository, but I don't have that change here. So if I go and push my own now, means I'm taking what is here backwards, right? And which is wrong. So how does Git manage it? Git tells you there's a merge conflict that you have to pull. When you pull, then you can then accept the changes from the remote repository, or you don't accept the changes from the remote repository and tell the developer that hey, I made changes before this and it's going to affect the code base. Do something like that. You get. So what you can then do now is I have to now pull what is from here to update my repository. But the thing is, in most cases, right, when you are working on a big project, you wouldn't know if you are up to date or not. So it is before you push, when you have made changes before you push. Let's say I add something new. Let's say melody. What's wrong with my keyboard? Added something new. So this Very good. So now I have added something new, right? Before I can push this file, I have to make sure that I am on the same um, uh, level, right? The same level with this repository because this repository is currently now is above me by one commit. So now how do I do this? I have to git pull first because if I push, I'm going to have a merge conflict here, which is bad. But if I pull, I'll be up to date, then I can then push. So to do this first, I'll just do git pull origin main. So this means I'm pulling from the main branch, which is the only branch that we have right now. So when you have going to branch, you understand more. So I'll do this and ask my password. Now you see, it tells me one thing. It tells me there's three insertion right on the README file, and I have pulled those three insertion, which is now if I come here, I have those changes now. Are you seeing it now? Now I can then push my own changes. But if I push my own changes, I think I'm not going to use the code base, and I'm going to use um, VS Code to do that. So first I have to commit here. So it tells me, would you like to stage all your changes and commit them directly? I say yes. And then it's supposed to ask me what's going to be my commit message. That's supposed to be the next question it's supposed to ask. And so you see, it says, please enter the commit message for your changes. Line starts with hash, we ignored, and an empty message about the commit. So I'll just put second commit and uh, yeah. So yeah, if I've already forgotten how to use this. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I think I'll go back to that because but you just commit and push again. I wanted to show you how to use it with VS Code, but I think there's some things that is wrong that I can't totally see. So basically when you do that, it went blank again. I didn't realize, guys. I didn't realize I went blank again. Seriously. Uh, I need to be sure you guys are seeing me. I just realized that it went blank again. I don't know, my screen went blank again. I don't know why it went blank, um, but yeah, I believe I've covered committing and some changes that you want to make and everything. So I hope today's class was helpful. You can still, if you still want to understand more, you can always go to the blog, right? And you can still understand more about the classes that I just thought about. I don't know what went wrong, but yeah. I've been able to cover uh, adding files to GitHub, pushing the files. I didn't touch anything on create branch because I know I would have touched that later. Then Git status, I've told you, showed you that, and the importance of README. So I believe there was a clear understanding. If you have questions, please do not fail to use either the Telegram, or you go to the forum to ask your questions. And please, I need you all to feel to indicate on this poll. Please fill the poll. Let's know what you're doing. All right. For backend, fill the poll. Let's know what you're doing for backend. It's really important. All right. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you for today. This will be the end of the class today. Um, Next on Thursday, we're still going to go into a deeper dive. Right. If you have any question, you can ask on the Telegram group, and please use the forum effectively, please. Yeah, and that'll be all for today. Have a good one, guys. Ciao, ciao.